When I met Abdullah Zeinab the first time, it was a long beach road. One of the people in our group said, "Hey, that's Abdullah ahead of us," and I decided I'd go and say hello. We peeled off about Mordialloc and Abdullah continued on towards Frankston. It was amazing to meet such a young athlete with so much potential. And now Abdullah has won the Trans-American road race, racing from one side of America, the West Coast, over to the East Coast. On Thursday, the 11th of July, I got to sit down with Abdullah and have a chat with him in the freezing cold Melbourne weather outside in Federation Square and talk about his amazing feat. I hope you enjoy this interview. Hi, good morning Abdullah.
Appreciate it, how are you?
Yeah, good mate, good. So, you've just finished your little ride across America? Abdullah Zeinab has just come back from doing the Trans-American bike ride, which is what we call the world's biggest commutes. He's gone from the west coast of America to the east coast of America, and we're catching up with him today to talk about exactly what that was like and to get a bit of a feel. So, yeah, thanks for coming down, Abdullah.
Appreciate it.
It's freezing cold. It's what, 7 or 8 degrees in Melbourne cold, today. Yeah. But the sun's actually out, which is surprising, and there's no wind today at the moment. So
it'll pick up. It'll pick up,
yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, tell us, what was it like, and where did you ride from and to, and how far was it? There's a lot of questions in one here.
Okay, so it's from the west coast to the east coast. It started in a place called Astoria, which is it's in Oregon. Yeah. Just like a beach town, really. And it finished in Virginia, in a place called Yorktown. So it's from the west to the east. It's about 6,800 k's roughly. I'm not sure on the specific actual distance, but at least minimum maybe 6,800. And what was the other question? What was it like to do that sort of ride? What was it like? I mean, it was everything you can imagine. It was hard. It was fun. It was fun not in the typical sense of fun in the challenging adventure fun way. But it's really hard to put into words specifically, because it was such a big journey, what it was exactly like, but I enjoyed it.
I hear when you're riding like that, the sort of zone out and you go into your own space, your own world.
It's not really, I don't think it's zone out, it's probably zone in.
Zone in, is it? It's more like a very focused sort of ride?
Yeah, it's more, comparing it to normal life, it's more like normal life zoned out, and then this is zoned in. So, you do. The only way, for me personally, that's the only real way I can do it. Because sometimes I find doing 50 k's down Beach Road harder. Just if I'm not with the right focus and attention, just riding down to St Kilda can be tough. So, I guess in that type of event or ride, whatever you want to call it, I think I take it pretty seriously. Like, I don't tell myself I'm just going for it's just meaning. It holds a lot of meaning inside of me, the whole event. So I apply a lot of focus to it, and that's really my aim, just to focus as hard as I can, and that kind of allows me to zone in. That helps me to be able to cover the distances I need to.
When you're riding like that, you're talking the big distances that you guys are doing. One thing that a lot of people don't understand is they think it's like the Tour de France. They think you guys are all out there going as hard as you can. Yeah. But it's more about consistency rather than speed, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, it just depends on the rider. Like, when I say I go as hard as I can, it's kind of relative to the situation and when you're out there, it becomes one speed anyway. You can't go faster than your body just won't allow you because you're so tired. So, but it's still like you're applying maximum effort. Like, in a weird way, like, can you imagine riding down the road but still applying maximum effort even though you're not out of breath the whole time? Like, you're still putting in all the effort you need to for that speed. In a weird way, it's hard to explain, really. Oh,
for someone like I used to do time trials. Yeah. So it's not that hard for me to understand. And this is one of the reasons why I love these world biggest commutes. Yeah. Is because to me it's like you go into a mindset where you go, okay, I just have to get to this next point, That's exactly. And a time trial, when you know you've got other riders in front of you, I just got to get in front of the next rider. I've just got to get in front of the next rider. But with you're going, I've got to get to my rest stop tonight. Or I've got to get to my food. Yeah.
I mean, you can break it down as much as you want. I guess it's probably like it is essentially just a personal time trial to some degree. So just depending on how you feel, you break it down as much as you want. Like, sometimes you can break it down to getting to the hotel. If you're tired, it's like you break down the next 20 seconds. or 5 seconds, or pedal stroke, whatever you have to do.
There's a sign in front of me. I'm gonna make that sign.
I mean, sometimes it does get like that. You think, oh, I'm just gonna do one. You can even just do pedal stroke for pedal stroke if you really wanted to. Just one. You know, just do that. Before, you know, you start doing that for a few hours, and then before you know it, you're just 100% focused, and time moves fast, so it doesn't become an issue anymore.
So now talk about that. When you're out there, you've got your focus, you've got your adrenaline going, and everything else. You're out there for
16 days.
16 days.
Hours, yeah.
Does it feel like 16
No,
days?
it doesn't. It doesn't fit. It's extremely quick. It's just counterintuitive to most people listening, but the whole situation makes it fast. You know, like just the whole situation. It perceivably living it feels like a dream. Like you rock up a lot quicker than what you would. It doesn't burden you. Like sometimes a day will burden you harder than that whole ride will. Just because of the whole situation with the focus and the intensity of the riding and the stress, you kind of just shift into a whole new state of being when you're doing it.
Now, I don't want to dwell on what happened with my call and that sort of thing, but one of the points that we tried to get across to people was when you're fatigued in a car, you can still move the car forward. But when you're ultimately fatigued on the bike, you just can't. You just have to stop, don't you?
Yeah, it's just a personal. I guess like, you know, it's hard because you're on the road with other users, so you know what I mean. There's more. You have a responsibility for other people in a way too. Like you can't just go crazy and then crash into another person. You can just ruin someone else's life. So you just have to take responsibility. You have to just take responsibility of that power. And I definitely noticed with me that the more long rides I've done, the more I'm inclined to rest when I'm tired. Then I was a bit more crazy at the start, but that doesn't. I realised that's very counterproductive on all levels. Like, so now when I get tired to the point that I start to feel a bit like out of it, and you know, I start looking at trees. They start looking like
people looking back at you.
People looking back at me. It starts to look like hands are reaching out to me. I know, like, there's not much more time left until I have a micro sleep. I've got to pull over and at least get some rest.
Now, strangely enough, Abdullah, I'm actually with you on the trees thing because the largest time trial I've ever done is 180 kilometres. I mean, not 500 kilometres a day like you're doing, but 180 kilometres. And I felt like the trees were saying, hey, time to pull over, mate. You've had enough. You've had enough. I podiumed that day. I got third. But even then, it was like the trees were saying, what the hell are you doing?
They start making shapes.
Yeah, they really do. So, I couldn't imagine now. You're doing big days. You're doing, 12-hour days if you're stuck, but you're doing 20+ hour days. What was the longest day you rode?
Well, I don't think about it in days. I'm just going from destination to destination, so there's no days for me. I mean, I think that's what helps kind of make time go fast, is you don't think about it like a day. Because in my head, if I think about it like a day, then I start. Your brain's trying to talk itself out of it at any measure. I think just from a survival mechanism standpoint, it just wants to. It's almost like if you do a time trial and you're going 100%, eventually there's going to become a point where you want to stop. Like if you're really going for it, because the body's just like, hey, this is too much. So the same thing like that. So I don't think about it like days, because then I start doing like mental gymnastics where I'm like, well, a day, what do I achieve in a normal day? Like I do 8 hours of riding, I think, oh, that's a full day of work. Like I'm out here like doing so it just gets tricky for me. But I think maybe the longest ride I did before I stopped into a hotel, which was what I was doing, was maybe 800k, 700, close to 800 kilometers. But I sometimes would do 22 hours, 24 hours, 23 hours. I don't really have many days under 18 and a half, 19 hours, just because the terrain's so up and down and the weather becomes problematic and you get tired, so they just start taking longer than you think.
Really hard for people to understand what it's like to be out there for days on and just riding and riding. When you talk about the pro peloton in the Tour de France, you're talking about a group of guys that start at a starting point, they've got a finish point, everyone's got the same point, they go out there and they go in a peloton and they ride it. It's not like that for you guys, is it?
No. I mean, I still admire the Tour de France. Like it's just the complete opposite of this, really. It's got its own separate challenges and it's just a completely different genre of cycling. I mean, a large part of this one, if you're not used to it, the difficulty of it is just being I mean, if you're not used to it, you can see it as being alone. I don't feel personally alone when I'm out there. just because you're not really alone. But it can when you first start getting into it, that loneliness can be hard to get over, especially when you're used to living like this, like with people and talking all the time and having contact and stimulation from your phone and things like that. But
Jumping down Beach Road, and you're surrounded by riders
that's what you notice when you're out there. Like, even if you go down Beach Road or whatever, like, even if you're riding by yourself, just seeing another cyclist, until that's gone, you don't realise how much of a difference that makes to your psyche. Yeah. So to have that removed, it can be quite shocking. So, and then obviously at Tour de France, you have support, you have people handing you bottles, and obviously it's a completely different level of fitness. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they're freak athletes at the top tier of like what's possible cycling-wise with power output and all these other kind of crazy things. This is a lot different.
Now, for people that don't understand, these guys also have a transponder on their bikes, so everyone knows where they are. And the people that watch them, that become the
dot watchers.
They become, we call them the dot watchers, or they're called the dot watchers. So what ends up happening is you end up with groupies or dot watchers that will turn up out of the blue in the middle of nowhere and go, "Oh, look, there goes Abdullah, I'm over here." So did you get that in America, or?
Yeah, I mean, the people in America were so supportive, and you know, I'm just grateful how supportive they are, because it just becomes a part of your overall drive to complete it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh, absolutely.
It just becomes a part of your drive to complete it. Having that amount of support's really unparalleled. Like, I've never, like, it's like having thousands of mums, if that makes sense. Like, the level of support, that's the kind of level of support they give you. So
absolutely.
So I'm so grateful for it. I don't think I could do the same distance, because when I'm out there, it kind of becomes less about you and about the just overall community when you're out there. So if there wasn't that community, it would be hard, for sure. So they're definitely a big reason why I do it. So I love the sport. I need it.
Well, tell me, let's go backwards here. We've talked about the race, we've talked about what it's like being on it. How do you prepare for doing thousands of kilometres in one hit? Oh, actually, we're talking America here, we should say. Thousands of miles in one hit. How do you prepare for that?
I mean, you can just prepare by being a good human, I think, because this type of riding is just like, it's like life in general. The same concepts apply. It's not like you have to have a 500 watt FTP. So the parallels in this and the parallels in daily life they're almost exactly the same. So it's not beyond anyone's reach to prepare for something like this. It's just like literally like, how can you do everything you do better, and you'll probably be a better ultra endurance, you know, cyclist, because it's the same concepts, the same major themes that apply. So, but in another note, physically on the bike, you know, I just took my time. I probably took almost a year, 11 months to prepare. And I was just consistent. I was just consistently going out there. I mean, there's specific things I did. Like, I wouldn't train with anyone. You know, maybe once a week. Like, if I had friends to go for a ride, I'd go with that just to keep it enjoyable and talk. But you know, I was trying to apply the same kind of scenarios that I would face out there on the bike here. You know, going out multiple days a week, back-to-back days, hard rides by myself, challenging myself, getting tired for a few months and sticking with it, even though I didn't really want to, even though I was over it, and just continuing, because a large part of the race is just continuing when you don't want to continue. Yeah. And that's if you're not used to that, it's challenging.
Yeah. Spoke, as I said earlier, to 3AW. You've now become the hash brown cyclist.
Yeah, I don't know, like, they were hell-bent on getting that hash brown thing in there. He was just asking me what I ate, and I just said hash browns. You know how they are. He's like, how many hash browns? I said, oh, Dad. And he's like, do you reckon it's 100? I'm like, yeah, whatever, just say 100.
So, look, Abdullah's vegetarian, or vegan actually.
Yeah, vegan, yeah.
Vegan by choice of life. He's attains to the vegan lifestyle, and something I've always respected him for. So being a vegan on the road doesn't mean that he did actually only eat hash browns. So let's clear that up right now.
Yeah. No, I didn't just eat hash browns.
It was not just hash browns. You did get tomatoes, as I heard.
I got a bit of tomato.
A bit of tomato and other foods as well. But I mean, look, we are talking about the junk food capital of the world. Yeah. So we are going to end up probably seeing more junky foodie type items than anything else. And we're also talking about them going through the central southern part of America.
That was bad, yeah.
Which is beef, and what's that other one? Oh,
chicken.
Oh, and chicken and beef. Yeah. So I can imagine it would have been harder for your lifestyle to actually have gone through that area.
It was harder. I mean, my stomach wasn't the most happy when I was going through there, just because when you get out there, you really crave just like salad. You know, you start craving things like salad and just whole foods and vegetables, and you feel like the body's demand for nutrition goes up, and you really like start to crave that in a heightened way that you never experienced. Like you actually crave a tomato. Like that's something you're thinking about. Like I'm dreaming of tomato to eat. So that was definitely hard when I got to those southern parts of the country. But I was just relying on energy bars and drinks, but the thing is, out there, I think vegetables in some parts of those states are so foreign. Like they don't even. Like I asked a girl one time to make me a burger just with the vegetables, and her brain was scrambling. Like she had to go get a manager to ask how to pay for it. Because she's like, they were laughing, and I was like, just put it through as whatever. I don't care. Like, you know, like put it through as whatever.
I'm hungry. I've just ridden X number of miles.
You don't want to even tell. I'm just telling her, like, look, put it through as whatever you want. I don't care. Charge me as much as you need to. Like it, you know, because you're like, take that out, put that in, and she's just like, what even is that? And I'm like, it's a vegetable sandwich. That's what it is. You know, so.
That's hilarious, mate. That's hilarious. Well, is there anything you wanted to say? I mean, your experience over there, we always talk about driving in Australia, drivers in Australia compared to overseas.
Yeah.
But America is very comparable to driving in Australia as well.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming your driver interactions would have been no real different than here?
They're no real different. I mean, you have a few run-ins with cars, but honestly, if I took any other cyclist and said to them, like, okay, like, I don't know what the average distance for a cyclist to ride is per year, let's say it's like 10, 12,000 kilometres, you know, that 7,000 almost kilometres is a large percentage of their training or their commute. So anyone in that amount of time cycling would have some sort of run-in with the car, usually, whether it be a close pass, someone yelling at you, giving you the finger, issues like that. So for me to have a couple of run-ins over that amount of distance isn't a big deal. It just sometimes feels like it because it's in a cute short window. So it was actually pretty good, I found.
Actually, Abdullah, just to let you know, mate, 7,000 kilometres is your high average commuter.
Is it?
Yearly.
Okay.
So,
well, commuting outside of training is different.
This is one of the reasons why I call it the world's biggest commutes.
Okay.
Because you are doing an entire year's worth of commutes in one ride, and you're commuting. You're going from one side to the other side for a reason.
Yeah, for sure.
Now, lastly, just to let everyone know, Abdullah has not walked away with a big paycheck. These guys are unsupported. They're unsupported financially. They get a big pat on the back at the end of it going, hey, well done. You were first across the line. By 2 days?
Yeah, about 2 days, I think.
2 days, Abdullah was first across the line, but they don't walk away with a gold medal or anything like that there. They walk away with the kudos. So keep that in mind when you talk about dog watching, when you talk about these large races, the TransAm, the Transcontinental, even the IPWR, if it gets resurrected, hopefully
for sure,
it will.
Hopefully,
hopefully someone will pick it up.
Yeah, I think they will.
But when you think about these commutes, just think, these guys are out there, they're unsupported, not financial, they haven't got someone driving behind them, they don't get given a bid-in every couple of 100 kilometres or anything like that. They have to do it all on their own. So just keep that in mind when you're out there. And as far as everyone out there, just drive safe, share the road.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything you wanted to add to that?
I mean, you know, it's a cool type of riding, and I don't think it needs. I don't think it needs prize money. Honestly, when you're out there, someone could offer you $100,000 and you wouldn't continue if you didn't want to.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like there's people out there. Like,
it's a challenge.
You would turn, and there's moments you would turn, like you would rather. There'd be people who would stop rather than continue for the money. So, I guess what you take away from it is the experience and the memories and the people and the support and, you know, just the process. You just fall in love with the process of preparing, doing the riding, and then the finish, and then everything that goes along with it is remarkable. So
it's jam,
it's just it doesn't. You already get the prize. You know, I feel like I've taken the biggest prize away just by doing it. Like as a prize,
absolutely.
You know, so and that's great.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Abdullah. Thank you so much for coming out in this bloody cold Melbourne weather.
Yeah.
Definitely hashtagging this Melbourne weather on this video. And I appreciate your time.
I appreciate it.
I really do appreciate the fact that you're going out there and doing this. I mean, it is an amazing feat that you're doing. So keep it up and keep us in awe of your achievements.
Hopefully.
Thank you very much.
I appreciate it.
Cheers.
Appreciate it.
We hope you enjoyed this interview with Abdullah Zeinab, and we hope to do more content like this in the future. So please like and subscribe to our channel, ring the bell to keep in touch when we do more videos. Thank you, and see you on the flip side.